Good morning, sports fans, and welcome to the last day of Cows Week. It's reasonably exciting. We've got a high pressure just sitting in the southwest, and that's kind of just gently moving and not doing very much. So, the important thing is the air temperature is reasonably cool here, but the temperature ashore, especially kind of just north of Southampton, we're looking at kind of 25 degrees, which is a nice temperature gradient to start to develop a sea breeze. So the big thing here is that we're just waiting on timing. The sea surface temperature varies between kind of 19 and 21, depending on where you look. And to be honest, I'm pretty keen to kind of trend towards 19 degrees just because it makes the most sense with the temperature differences we're seeing. So, there may be local variations in shallow areas, but I think the general kind of temperature is probably around that, judging by the kind of the stability that we get, etc. So basically, we've got no synoptic drivers in the morning, gentle kind of northwesterly, and then that turns into a southwesterly, and that primes it really well. So that's really important. And yeah, so if we look at the numbers now, we see that we have kind of a gentle northwesterly that then drops off a little bit and then rebuilds. And it's really important to kind of look at the timings here. So that timing is completely dependent on when we start to get the new breeze, basically, and the heating and all of that. So there's a lot going on, a lot to unpack, but yeah, essentially we see that stability in the early afternoon, and we can kind of see that both directionally and with the speed. The wind shear kind of tells a very similar story, so we can see that kind of at 8 o'clock there's not much going on speed wise, but directionally there's a lot going on. It means it's quite unstable directionally, so we've got a lot of regimes going on and a lot of things happening. At 2 o'clock, we can see that it's actually less windy at height, and that's basically the sea breeze starting to propagate really big directional changes, and that's kind of indicative of the kind of big kind of thermal differences that we're going to start to get. And then later on in the evening, we see a much more traditional wind shear profile. So yeah, no, it's definitely worth looking at. And then Western Solent, very similar. The wind shear speed profile is very similar across the board, and you'd expect that it's a little bit less messy. And again, we've got that pretty solid early build, and directionally, again, very stable. Eastern Solent, a little bit slower to build and a little bit more unstable directionally and kind of speed wise. Much larger gust profile there as well. So yeah, we obviously have talked about the sea breeze propagation. The trick here is the timing, and that'll be kind of based on cloud cover and the heating. And the first few hours of that breeze coming in are going to be patchy, in the same way that any sea breeze is. So the breeze might be flicky, it might be quite gusty, and I think that's really important to note. And apart from that, I think we've had a really good week. A few misquotes here and there, which definitely happen, but overall, I think we've had a pretty good forecasting week. Definitely safe sailing, happy sailing, and yeah, no. If anybody would like to get in contact with any feedback or any advice or even inquiries about future business in any kind of industries that need a meteorologist, then let me know. Thank you very much, and I've been Steve from Orcamet.